I want to talk today about a really controversial topic: sales and marketing. Is sales marketing? Is marketing sales? Does sales come after marketing? Does marketing precede sales? Does sales precede marketing? How does it all work? So I want to really simplify it, and I want to put it in the context, which is I think where the value is, on how it relates to businesses and the size of businesses, where businesses are at, how they scale. When you're a small business and you're starting out and you've got very little funds, or you're self-funding, and you need to bootstrap everything you've got, nothing, as far as I'm concerned, beats sales. And this is where the marketing spectrum often comes into play, because I see it every day where people starting off businesses contact me and go, "Hey Kevin, I want to do digital marketing, I want to do Facebook marketing, I need a website, I need this, I need that, I need this, but I have no money." And I get it. We've all been in that position. We know what it's like to start off. And so typically my number one piece of advice is start selling. And that's where you need to get out there, off your ass, and sell, and talk, and network, and convince people that you're the one for them, and do it in a way that allows you to bring in some revenue to pay the bills for you to reinvest back in your business. It sounds so simple, and I hear, "Oh, that's really hard, and it can't get in the door," and I hear all these excuses. And it's not the case. It's one of those things where I found the minute I said I was going to business for myself, and I just put it out there, and I started having the conversations like, "Oh yeah, hey, I do this. I've got a small agency, and I can do this and this." "Oh, cool. Can you do that?" "Yeah, no problem." I wasn't precious about what I took on. I sold. I went and sold. I didn't, and this is what I do for a living, and I didn't even have a brand. I barely had a brand when I started what I was doing. And so that's what I want to share, is that the sales portion always has to be there. We're perpetually selling. And when you're starting off, it's more important than ever. But then as you start to grow and you start to scale, there becomes a limit on the amount of referral or recommendation, whether it's you're selling a product or a service. There comes a point in time where you need to have that influx of interest, where you need to be having these conversations at scale in order to drive potential business and drive more business. And that's where the marketing side comes in. Now, we'll say by this stage, you may have invested in a bit of a logo, you've got a bit of a brand identity, you might even have a really basic site. I've spoken about Wix and Squarespace. Great way to start off when you have very little money, but you've got a bit of time. So you invest that time into creating the foundations to kick off. But then as you want to grow and as you want to scale, that's where the marketing function in its traditional sense makes the process to sale so much easier and so much more fluid. So the objective there is then, what are your channels? And if you look at my other videos, I talk about touch points. What are your touch points? How are you engaging with your potential customer? Whomever they may be, what are you doing to communicate and tell the narrative, the story about what you do, how you do it, why they should do business with you, who you are, what you know about them, how you can help them, where you can add value. That's when the marketing stuff kicks in. That's where you start going, "Okay, I need to do this at scale," and you use the digital and social channels to help it multiply those efforts. So as the business grows, that's where you can become more complicated. You can start getting really fancy. You can start, all the different types of marketing, where you do the outbound marketing, where you're actively building a database and then you're communicating that database, or you're getting on the phone and you're telling them a bit about your business, whatever it might be. And then you've got the inbound stuff, where you're building campaigns in order to drive, where you're creating really great content in order to drive that interest and drive those people to you to start having that conversation at scale. And so for me, in really simplistic terms, that's how I delineate between sales and marketing. I think they're meshed, they go hand in hand. The sale is where the revenue comes from, but the marketing is the foundation that supports that sale. but the line's blurred. And it's I think, marketing is everything and everything is marketing, and sales is a part of that. So it's who you are, what's your brand, what do you do, how can you add value, who are your customers, knowing who they are, understanding them so intimately that you can give them exactly what you need in a better, more efficient, more strategic, cost-effective way. And if you can figure out how to do that, you can add a lot of value to their lives. That is where I see how sales and marketing come together, and that's my take on it. So I hope that puts a bit of perspective in, especially if you're starting out, or if and you're trying to find your feet. To those that are well established, and you realise you need that inbound traffic, that's where the scalable marketing comes into it. I hope that helps, and I look forward to speaking with you next time.